Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor. Well, basically, continuing from the E, O, and U was not part of the Hebrew alphabet. Part 2, like I said I was going to do. Part 2, I said I wasn't going to do today, but I'm not doing today, so Slovakia. I shouldn't have said that, so it's been done today. So, again, all honor, all glory, and all praises be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Notice what I said. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. And the reason why I'm repeating myself, let's go into the lesson after Salah. We get that will honor the apostles and prophets and elders of GMS camp, but to know as great minister for the bring forth the 100% truth that have been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, tabernacles of David, and Arabert Zariak coming to this lesson, continuing on what we did in the first video for this morning, which was literally, I guess, loaded up later than the rest. But anyways, so the reason why I repeated myself to show you how, because for the going back in its text, the ancient way that you would pronounce W was more rounded, like a U. It was more rounded. So instead of saying Yahweh, it's Yahweh, Yahwah, pronouncing Yahweh. It goes on to start out with Yahweh. See, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. That's how it's supposed to be pronounced. If you go back into information from earlier roots, it doesn't sound like a U, but the pronunciation is more rounded like a U. So let's go into the information immediately, because I know you all need to see this. So we did exactly what I said I was going to do. Backdate from 9000 BC, backdate from even 6000 BC, even 9000 BC. And let's read what it says. For education purposes, okay? Let's read. Yes, there was a W pronunciation around 6000 BC. But it depends on which language stage you mean. Short answer, yes, W sound existed by 6000 BC. And Proto, first thing immediately came up. Again, Proto-Semitic, and even earlier in the Proto-Afro-Asiatic. So even in that group, it had the W. Let's keep going. Longer explanation, Proto-Semitic, about 4005 to 3000 BC, because Proto-Semitic is dealing with the time when Shem was there. But we know common sense would tell you that before Shem, in order for Shem to learn this, it would have to be inherited by his fathers and forefathers, which means they would also have been speaking the exact same language with the W. See, now the O, the E's, and the U's are out of the Hebrew alphabet back then. That will only mean one thing, that W was covering the majority of languages and sound outs when it comes to words. Let's continue. So Proto-Semitic definitely had a W sound. It was a voiced labio velar approximant, like English W in water. Reconstructed consonant W is the same pronunciation that was formed into a literal letter, which is W today. Before, it was a consonant letter with the symbol of the Y symbol, I believe, that gives out W-A-W, which was pronounced wow. Let's keep going. Again, we have mortate. Reconstructed W, it functioned as a consonant, a root letter, a semi-vowel, example, WLD, to give birth to Hebrew Yalad. After sound change, WRT, inherit. It gives an example immediately. Let's keep going. It says, okay, let me see. We're supposed to I don't know why I screenshot and again this part up here. Why does this happen? I see what it says here. It later shifted to V in the P.E.S.T. I don't know if that's what it says. Biblical Hebrew still preserved as W. See, it's still preserved as W, but it was changed to another letter, of course. We have the Ancient Hebrew, the Phoenician, and we have the early Arabic, which is W. Summary: time period was there a W sound? Proto-Afro-Asiatic 6,000 years, yes. Proto-Semitic 4,000 to 3,000 years, yes. Ancient Hebrew early, that's before that, yes. One more time, yes. Modern Hebrew, it shifted to V, so no. That's why you have the Yiddish. It's a bastardized language. It's a mixed language. Therefore, it is not part of the scriptures being a pure language for us to remember. Which is why we can tell you all those that are in the Yiddish that have the components of new letters like the O, E, and U, which we read in the first video that has been put in later. Those cannot be part of his true name. It's literal new or differently written letters added in. Literally reconstructed Hebrew to modernize it. We read that. It actually outlines the tree. O, E, and U. I didn't write that. It outlines the tree. I didn't write that. I didn't make that up. It's history. But anyways, we ain't done. Let's keep going. It says alongside Y, it even brings out the Y, which I did not ask for. Mind you, I only asked for W. It says alongside Y, used in roots and grammatical structures. So even at 6000 BC, its W type sound was already present. Ancient Hebrew later, in much later Hebrew, originally W, which is W-A-W, which has the square text symbol. We know we have the Paleo Hebrew symbol, the square text symbol. Over time, shifted to V, and post biblical Hebrew still preserved as W, which that's the information we forget, we didn't get. Apparently we get it in it, but when we move it to the file, it shifted. So still careful for that. But I'm glad the information is there so you can see for yourself. So you know I am not trying to block out anything. If you realize everything, I want to make sure I put it there. So you can check on it for yourself and check a ChatGPT and check your information in history and see it for yourself. I didn't try to purposely remove anything. Because you see how it had a part here I'd missed? And I was looking for it. I had to try to read from the top there. I couldn't see it properly. It's right here. So you know I didn't miss anything, or I wasn't trying to miss anything on purpose. Let's continue. We're going on to the what? The question pertaining to 9,000 years. The same question which was here was apparently, I don't know, my screenshots is be off sometimes. That's because I ain't even trying to see I see it up there. It says, were there any W pronunciation in 9000 BC? Because we know O, E, and U has already been ruled out. So were there any? Probably yes. A W-like sound existed around 9000 BC, but we can't prove it with certainty. Why? The answer is probable and that absolute. 9000 B is pre-writing stage basically. Writing appears much later, 3300 BC. So it would be, but it would more be spoken rather than what? Written. Let's keep going. Anything earlier than that is reconstructed using imperative linguistic, not direct evidence. Because what? We don't have any evidence because there wasn't anything written. Let's keep going. What linguistic tells us is Proto-Afro-Asiatic likely 10,000 to 8,000 BC. Most linguists place Proto-Afro-Asiatic in this time range. Let's keep going to see the rest. All right. Okay, I'm glad to continue. You see, I had to make sure. This reconstructed language almost certainly, it says certainly had the Y and the W and the Y, right? So these songs are extremely stable across languages, as presently in all Afro-Asiatic languages. So those that were written in this time would have had these things in. But before, when it was sung out, it already existed. And here is the listing to where it says, in the very top, present in all Afro-Asiatic branch, Semitic. One more time. Semitic. Let's keep going. Egyptian, Cushitic, Chadic, and Berber. I'm trying to see if I get the rest. Let me see if I get the rest. Berber, I don't know. Okay, why didn't it show the ones below? Again, Salakia, I the screenshot thing. Can I get everything? And then it does not show everything, and I don't like that. ChatGPT, if fucking up. No lie. But the information is right here, as you can see. Let's keep going. It says even deeper proto-world tendencies, while no, I missed one though. Where's the part 2? I reading. Anyway, let's keep reading. It might probably shift to. Let's just go. Even deeper. Yeah, where's the part 2? Okay, let's make sure. There's probably more to the part 2 that I didn't get here, so Salakia. But let's just do part 3 for now. I hope. Let's see. I sure it has to be somewhere. Let's keep going. Even deeper proto-world tendencies, while controversial, many linguists agreed on this principle. Earlier human language almost always includes W. Why? W is easy to pronounce, requires minimal tongue precision, common in infant speech, which again is part of what the original language, infant speech. A, ba, tha, za, ka, la, ma. That's what babies speak, right? Infant language, infant speech, right? Which is also the alphabet. Let's get up immediately. Let me not try to triple it up too much. Which is the alphabet: ka, ya, ta, ka, za, wa, ha, da, ga, ba. Come on, baby, come on. It's there. Was what we originally had from a child. That's what is also part of that. For those who didn't realize and recognize it, it's there. Let's go back into the information provided. Right. So worldwide it says. No, is it? Yeah, this is itself. Common in infant speech appears in unrelated language families worldwide. Let's go. This strong suggests that by 9000 BC, humans were already using W-like sounds. Again, consonant letters with the symbols that matches the sound wa or W. We know this because when you dig deep into your history, it's uncovered, especially those that are sincere and seek Yahweh Shemir and sincerity and truth, who have that faith. It comes to you over a period of time. Let's keep going. I see in summary table. Time 9000, 6000, Proto-Semitic, ancient. W song present, present, very likely. Yes. Certain, highly high, very high, certain. It's literally evident at this point. Bottom line, yes, humans almost certainly pronounced W songs in 9000 BC, even though we can't hear recordings or see writings from that time. That's the only reason why you will not be able to know it, because you don't have any information at that particular time. Why W survives longer than many other songs, or how W turns into V or disappears in some languages. And let's keep going to see the rest. Okay, 2. You see, you go back to 2. This is further other information from the 2. Let's read it. Proto-language reconstruction. Many early languages, families reconstruct a W sound very deep in time. So what it was reconstructed, right? Proto-Afro-Asiatic was W. Proto-Indo-European, which is not Shemitic, was W written or U. Now you understand where you get the U from? Is not original to the ancient Hebrew language or consonant, letters, or pronunciation. Get it in your head. It's not part of our roots. Proto-Semitic later, 45 BC was Wa, which is the Y symbol, of course. Since their families descend from early spoken languages, the W song must be much older than writing. Like I said, it's passed down from generation because that's what they speak. In order to properly translate or speak to your father, they would have to teach you what they are speaking as an infant. And it passed down, and it passed down, and it passed down, and it passed down. And we saw the roots from Shem going back up to who? Adam and to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So you know for 100% fact now, 100% fact now, that the Y, the O, and the U was never part of our language. Case dismissed. And if I could even backdate this to 1200, 12,000 BC, which I know I have no information concerning that, but if it is, I'm going to do it. So all those calling on Yahuwah and Yahusha and adding U's and O's and E's into the Hebrew languages and having names with O's and E's and U's, Yisrael and all kind of foolishness, you're off. The Spirit is not dealing with you. You are off by a mile and a half. You're adding in different letters into the Hebrew language. You're incorporating bullshit to pureness and then talking about you'll have the name. Stop that foolishness. Stop that foolishness. University of W, the W sound is simple, common, linguistically found in nearly every major language and family. They strongly suggest, come on, please move that. It strongly suggests existed very early in human speech, included around 9000 BC also. And that's it. Look, there's no more scrolls. That's what I miss out. So I was looking, I was looking for it, and I found it. You see that? For the same, I found it. There it is. There you go. Information clear and edifying. So going back into the scriptures, dealing with the pure language. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verses 9. This is what scripture says. What then will I turn to the people of pure language? Because that pure language would not have any European or any other language or a lot of consonant letters that is outside of its roots. People, keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. The pure language is the Lashon Kadash, which is only Paleo Hebrew, which has these consonants, which are the ancient Hebrew alphabet, Paleo, which you can see 12,000 BC, and the modern Hebrew alphabet, which was still in the square text, but still had the pronunciation of the ancient before it was changed. That's why we could put this up here and clarify it is a pure language, because it goes back to its roots, Paleo Hebrew, which has no O, E's, and U's. As you can see, it's no F's, no J's, because these were never even there. until a very long time after. Not 1,000 years like the O.U. and U, but a very long time after. Let me grab the next precept as we have it here. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verses 18, I believe. That's what I saw. 19 and verses 18, just to make sure. Right. And it says, in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan, and swear to Yahweh of hosts. On one shall be called the city of destruction. In that day shall there be an altar to Yahweh in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to Yahweh. And it shall be a sign, it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto Yahweh of hosts and the land of Egypt, for they shall cry unto Yahweh because of the oppressor, and he shall send them a savior, which we do say Yahweh shall Hamashiach, and a great one, he shall deliver them, which is what in these last days. It's not referring to what it was back then. Prophecy again and again. And who was likened unto that city, or which is known as Egypt, is where the Americas, that it says what? And their dead bodies shall lie in a great city. What is the great city? It's Babylon the Great. That's why it's called the Great City, which we know is America today, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt because of their characteristics, what they push out, because of the judicial system promoting these homosexual acts as well, aside from trying to make your very nation mimic Egypt practices. It still stems with what? I didn't want to get my video not be put up, but the LG complex, the LG complex, and their foolishness that they push and promote and try to force it on other nations. The symbolisms like pyramids. Come on, there's so much thing we could compare at this point. It's undeniable. It's undeniable at this point. Come on. So, which is called Sodom, like I said, and Egypt, where also our Lord Yahweh was crucified, trying to stifle out the truth, trying to stifle out the name, and trying to stifle out the very people that brings forth this doctrine out of that particular city. Come on. Which is why the language is very important. If it's brought back onto us, like we read before, Baruch again. The reason I bring it again because it lines up perfectly. Verse 32. Verse 31, it says, for what? I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. They shall remember themselves. And they shall what? They shall know and shall know that I am Yahweh, their power. For I will give them an heart and ears to hear. So they are the ones that are going to be waking up from the slumber that he has set them in. And they shall what? Praise me, Salak, in the land of their captivity. And in order to praise Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, in one aspect you must know his name, which is why they say, and think upon his name, because remember those that are waking them up, which is the prophets, the servants of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, according to Amos 3. These servants are going to be bringing back that knowledge and wisdom and understanding unto them, which is much like what is happening today, which is a prophecy before the destruction of the enemy and the salvation of our people. We are to be waken up, which is why you have a conversation and a talk about which one is the pure language today, because there are people that still adopted the false information and misinformation of having these very vowels, these particular vowels in the Lashon Kodesh, which has never existed. So, I hope this information, again to you, is very much edifying. I kept my promise in going back date from 6000 BC and even going into 9000 BC, where they clarify and explain it even more. So now you can't even say the U letter was origin to Hebrew. You could say it was added in after a while. You could say it was learned from other nations meaning intermingle with the other nations. It was learned from the other nations, and it was brought in because of that. But you could never say it is an original Hebrew alphabet that was used back then by the by ancient Hebrew ancestors. You cannot say that. So I hope this lesson is indeed clear and very edifying. And we say Shalom Yasharala, Kal Halalia Yahawa, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakodash. We give double honors to the apostles and prophets and elders of GMS Camp, better known as Great Millstone, for the bring forth the 100% truth that have been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David. And I am a brother to Zariak, saying to you, Shalom.